Project 6, Stage 1. We are working on candy packaging, and our Stage 1 is building the file structure. You gotta remember, packages are designed by somebody, and most of them have a standardized size and shape. We try to design packaging so that it will stand out, but a lot of times its design is going to be dictated by the space that's going to be allowed for it on a grocery store shelf or on a shelf in Walmart, Kmart, Sears. You probably don't have a lot of choice regarding the size and shape of a package. Packages are typically designed and printed flat. They use a template to indicate the edges and the folds, and then those are die cut. Die cutting, it would be a special designed knife edge, if you would, kind of like a cookie cutter that would go through a stack of printed paper and then folded and glued together. The next time you finish a box or a can, take the label off, take a box apart, pull the glue flaps open to see how that package was designed. Most of the packages are common sizes, and printers very often have existing templates that you can use. For our file, and you should have downloaded the candy zip file and opened that up into your WIP folder, you'll have a folder named Candy, and that's going to contain the files that you need for the project. We're going to create a new file now by opening the template file. It is square box and it is a template. And we're going to open that and we're going to save and name that candy box, which I've done once, so I'm going to save over that. We want to be able to see this, so fit your artboard in the window, and we want to take a look at what we have. First of all, we have our die cut layer, which is indicated by the dotted line. That is where the knife blade is going to run. We can remove that temporarily. Bleeds and margins. There is the red line outside indicating the bleed, and the inside margin, just like we did in the last lesson, is created so that you know the safe area. And of course you have the fold guides, which are lines that are placed in, and because the manufacturer already has the template, they do not need to mark this particularly with those dotted lines as we needed to for our fold lines. Besides that, we'd have so many dotted lines on here, I think it would be rather confusing. So we have this saved, and the next thing we're going to do is create a new layer, and that is going to go in between the die cut and the bleed layer. So you might want to select the bleed layer and create a new layer to appear above that. And we're going to name that background. With that layer active, we are going to place in the background file. With your selection tool, reposition that file so that it is across the sides of the box. Make sure it's down off of the top flap, and it's okay if it spills onto the bottom, that's fine. We are now going to hide all the other layers. Remember, you hold down your Alt key and click on the visibility icon, and that hides everything else. We are going to turn this image into a drawing. We want to select the image trace button up in the control panel. By default, this is going to turn this into an image tracing object that is a black and white image. We do not want to hit the expand button yet, which is would turn this into an outlined piece of art. We are instead going to go to Window and open up our image trace panel, and we want to change our preset from the default setting to a low fidelity photo. You can see we have a bunch of different options in here that are built in that we could use. And this is going to take a long time to do each one of these renderings. It also, if you're on a laptop, you're going to find that it chews your battery. So remember that and plan ahead, or make sure you can plug in someplace. Because these changes take so much time and energy, and this is a rather large image, processing each change uses a lot of your time and power. And so we're going to try to limit the complexity of this file by reducing the number of colors. Right now, if you look in your panel, I have 1,055 colors. That's a lot of colors. Each one of those, if we expanded this, each one of those color changes would have to be outlined and a new color created. So we're going to limit the complexity by limiting the number of colors. Go into palette, and instead of full tone, we're going to select limited. That's going to change us down from over 1,000 colors to only 30. It's still a pretty nice effect. It's a little stylized, but if we wanted to, we could even take this down a little lower, but 30 should be pretty nice. Because it's chewing up a lot of energy and it takes so much time, deselect the preview button, and then any change that we make is not going to be generated here on the screen. We want to open up the advanced heading, and I am going to slide that over to the side just simply so that we don't cover up the artwork. But you are going to change the path option, and this is for fidelity to the path. We want the paths to be stricter, so we're going to bring that up to about 75%. Corners. We don't have any corners on here. We don't need any sharp corners, so we're going to take the corners down to approximately 25%. Now, for every change that we did, if we did not have the preview deselected, we'd have to stop and pause and let this go to black screen and have everything redraw before it came back. We are also going to change the noise option. The higher values mean fewer small spots of color in the tracing, so we want to bring this down just a little bit. We're going to change this to 5 pixels, and I'm going to tab to create that. It ignores smaller areas when it's high, which creates, again, more colors. There is a really wonderful section on page 295 covering the image trace options and what everything will control. Please make sure that you read through all of that. Now that we have made our settings, we're going to put the preview button back on so that the drawing can be re-rendered. We've got a little bit of a change. There should be a little more accuracy for creating the ovals around the candy. We should have smaller areas of isolated color. We would like to next, in your view, take a look at tracing result with outlines. Now you can take a look at how the colors are selected, and you can see a little more clearly the divisions between the colorized sections. Go back to your tracing results again and change your view to tracing results. Click the eye icon to the right of the view button and hold your mouse button down. This will show the original image that was used to do the image trace. So it's a good method for reviewing the original image and still experimenting with the image trace options. So you can turn it on and off and see the shift. This is probably a good place again to save, so we're going to do that really quickly. And then once you're done saving, click off to deselect everything in the file. We want to bring up our swatches panel and our color panel. So you may have to pull one of those off to the side So let me bring my swatches off, and then I can go back and I can have my color panel open, and I want to show my options for that. Next, I'm going to pick up the eyedropper tool. Click the eyedropper in a dark red color on the tracing object. Yes, you'll get the selection popping up over it. We need a dark red color. We're going to create a new swatch. Activate the global checkbox and uncheck Add to my library. And you're going to accept the default swatch name, which is filled with color values. Using the eyedropper again, pick up one of the light pink colors and add that sample color as well. Sample, this time, a light yellow. And then save again.